Hello, BookTube. I'm back with another episode of Book Trifles. And this week it's to jacket or not to jacket. And I'm talking about dust jackets, dust wrappers, many other names for them. A book jacket uh, has a kind of quite an interesting and long history to them. And prior to, I'm going to go into generalities here. Like prior to the 19th century, most books were sold without a binding. It was just a text block, and you would buy the book. Maybe they would, where you bought it, would put a casing on it to bind it, or you would have a binder yourself, and you had a specific style or a leather bound, whatever, usually leather, that you would take it to your binder, and they would bind it up and put it under covers. And then, but beginning about the first third of the 19th century, uh, publishers started actually putting covers on, hardcover, like boards on, but usually just cloth. Sometimes with a little label on the spine or on the front board. It was meant to be just temporary as well. That you'd buy the book, take it to your binder, and they would rebind it into the binding of your choice. Uh, and then about the mid 19th century, um, things started to change. But before that, like around the first third of the 19th century, there began something that were like dust jackets. Not so much in that way, but they were a paper that would wrap the book, and it may even predated to before they cased them, when they sold just the text blocks, and people made their own little coverings that they could remove. But in this case, it was like a if you when you buy it from the seller, the bookseller, it would be like almost like wrapping paper. It would be torn to take off because it was sealed up. And then around the first half, or well around 1850, say, they began to have paper that would have flaps that would cover it there, and it would have the printed information on, a lot of times, instead on the label. But again, it was meant to be discarded or generally discarded, and the book would be rebound as well. But then late 19th century into the 20th century, uh, they began to make a little more substantial dust jackets. Some of them were still just plain brown. I've got a few that are from the late teens, but I couldn't get my hands on them. But they're just like a brown paper, and just printing on it generally. But some of them did have designs, and that developed, and that sort of went to something like this. This is a Batsford. Um, just checking the date. Like this is 1947, so this is post World War II. But it's got a nice design on it, and they started doing that. However, some people, like I've read quite a few sort of book memoirs, and people even in the 30s and 40s, they would get the book and they would discard the dust jacket. They did not like having the dust jacket. I'm assuming even the ones with nice artwork like this, not just plain ones. And they would discard them and put the book on their shelf. And even paperbacks started, with a lot of them with dust jackets. Here's this is number 2 of the Penguin series. This is The Intelligent Woman's Guide to Socialism, Capitalism, Sovietism, and Fascism by Bernard Shaw, in 2 parts. And it had a dust jacket, the Pelican. And that really does protect the covers here. Those actually got discarded a lot. But yeah, and then it just, today, um, we've got. Sorry, I'm just trying to see. Like today now, a lot of books are published without a dust jacket at all. They can print right on, you know, the paper. And then prior to that, they would sometimes print on the cloth. So, yeah, do you like dust jackets? Do you like older dust jackets? Or do you prefer something like this that you get, like this is an Everyman edition? And they do look nice on the shelf without the dust jacket. Do you keep your dust jackets, or do you discard them? Or if they're a little tatty when you get them, do you discard them? Or do you put them in a protector, a dust jacket protector? Just sort of interesting to find out. But yeah, it's dust jackets. That's your trifle for today. Thank you, BookTube.